Hello, this is Brian Selassie, the Orthodox Catholic One here on YouTube of Golden Sword Apologetics. Anyway, today's video will be about the Eucharist and statues. It's about a double standard argument that some Protestants hold to. Protestants reject the Eucharist as actually substantially being Christ's body and blood and opt for a symbolic view of the Eucharist on the basis that eating blood and the flesh of man, specifically blood, is forbidden by the law of Moses. Therefore, it would be unclean for Christ to actually have us do this. However, Protestants generally make another argument that's unrelated, that's about statues and images. They say that the law of Moses forbids making statues and graven images in Exodus 20 and the Ten Commandments, then say it does not matter that Exodus 25 has God ordering Moses to make a statue of angels on the Ark of the Covenant, since it's an exception and God specifically gave him direct specific orders to build it. So it's okay for Moses to do it. Now, if we were to apply this reasoning to the Eucharist in this debate, their logic backfires on them. They would have to admit that despite God prohibiting the drinking of blood in the law of Moses, that if God, in the person of Christ, instructs people to eat his flesh and blood, then it must be lawful and must be done, since orders were given that were specific and given to do precisely that. So, the Protestant symbolic view of the Eucharist on the basis of a prohibition of blood backfires on them and shows they have a double standard. Now let's go through the pertinent verses. Exodus 20 verse 3, part of the Ten Commandments. It says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee a graven image, nor any manner of likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath." And then Exodus 25 specifically gives a commandment to make an image, "And thou shalt make 2 cherubim of gold of beaten work, shalt thou make them at the ends of 2 ark cover of the ark cover." Then we have the verses about blood, "But be sure to not eat the blood, because the life is in the blood, and you must not eat the life with the meat." That's Deuteronomy 12:23. Then we have Christ giving a specific commandment in the Gospels in John 6 verse 53. "Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in yourselves." Now here's a simple little chart of the case. You have the law, that a very general law, that says do not drink blood. That's Deuteronomy 12:23. Then you have a specific instruction, drink my blood, John 6:53 and 54. And then you have another generic law about graven images. It says Exodus 20 verse 3, do not make them, thou shalt not make them. And then you have in Exodus 25 verse 18, make 2 cherubim of gold and place it on the Ark of the Covenant. Now, furthermore, the law explains why not to eat the blood, because the blood is the life. And Christ said you must drink his blood to have life in John 6. Anyway, also, some explain the commandment to drink his blood as a symbol that they no longer are bound to the law of Moses. I'm not saying that it is a symbol. It is in a sense, but I'm saying that it's by drinking his blood, it's a symbolic rejection. I wouldn't say rejection, but symbolic affirmation that they are under the new law of Christ, under the new covenant, not the old covenant, not the old law, but under Christ's law. Also, I should mention Acts 20, verse 15, verse 20, which says the following: avoid pollutions from idols, unlawful marriage, and meats of strangled animals, and blood. Now, some debate if it's referring to drinking blood at all. Some believe it's just an expression of murder or violence. Regardless, if we are to accept the Protestants' reasoning that a specific commandment may be an exception to a general rule, then even if Acts 15:20 addresses drinking blood, it does not matter, since a specific command was given to do it in a special case with Christ. He specifically said, drink my blood, therefore it doesn't matter that a general prohibition was done otherwise. This would have to be an exception in Protestant reasoning. Anything else would be dishonest for a Protestant to claim. Anyway, this is Protestant Orthodox Catholic 1.